We're a couple of birds in a wolf den, but to us it still feels like heaven. Cause we don't let the bad vibes get in, we don't let them win. Testify to the strength of a true bond, flying high over the heads of a rude mob. Staying at the revolution of the whole clock, kill them all with love. I don't care if they're talking about us. No, I don't care if they put us down. I don't care if the sky falls around us. We're riding on a pink cloud. Out, out.
There's a pyramid of power with eyes that can see it all. Cameras to capture your image at City Hall. Realize they listen whenever you make a call. If you want a revolution, I'll really give it to y'all. Strength is the army that bands against bands of dead presidents, determining life of mankind of cancerous. How we breathe vapors. Greed got us bleeding in streets for cheap paper. Assemble the masses, melt the plastic, combine, realign when the shit gets drastic. Lift the veil when the systems are masked. It's just another pyramid scheme, a government racket. Combined with the power of Charles Jurassic. Nation T-Rex with covert tactics. Rise from the ashes to get the atlas. Bring the madness. Charles Jurassic, Nation T-Rex with covert tactics. Rise from the ashes, take back the Atlas. Bring the madness.
Chains that you pull away. I feel the fear when you look at me. But we've had enough of love. Is this not enough? And me in your arms, feeling deep inside. child of Iris, coming crisis. You're invited to come down. Silver skin cells, simply held in a cradle, hopefully found. And if you're honest with me, if you aren't a liar, then just give me what I need. Tell me where am I wrong? Super sad. I'm so sorry. That's my story. I know less than most do. Super sad. Super
representing some of the biggest cities around the world. 72 of the world's most talented poker players with over $350 million in combined lifetime earnings will put everything on the line over 8 months to compete for the title of the first ever GPL World Champions. Which team has what it takes? The Global Poker League starts now.
Hello and welcome back to the Global Poker League. This is our third and final night of live broadcasting for this week. And what an epic lineup we have still to come for you. Of course, we've already watched some heads-up matches from the Americas Conference this evening. The great Olivier Bousquet defeated 6 points against Darren Elias from the Sao Paulo Mets.
Yeah, putting on a clinic, Mr. Bousquet and Mr. Elias, understanding that was what's about to happen, and still pulling away with 3 points. I think a bonus for the Sao Paulo Mets in this case.
And coming up, oh yes, it's getting even better. We have the Battle of the Swedes.
Hashtag.
You
know, a lot of talk is on Jacobson, and that's normal. He is the main event champion for 2014. But Anton Wigg, not only an accomplished online poker player, if you check his Pocket 5 stats, for example, just ridiculous. But he's won 11 times on the live circuit. A lot of wins there, including EPT Copenhagen a few years back. So very accomplished, probably even more accomplished than Jacobson when looking at both of their resumes. So a lot of eyes all looking at Jacobson, well deserved. But I think Anton Wigg could very well be the player to beat in this tournament, in this match.
Right, we're going to take a look now at the format video, so this will give you a little bit of a heads up, see what I did there, on what's to come from the Global Poker League over the next 8 months.
The Global Poker League consists of 12 worldwide teams, 6 in the Eurasian Conference and 6 in the American Conference. Each team has a total of 6 players, and the manager of that team may choose whoever they like to play at any time, provided each player on their team plays a minimum of 6 matches across the season. The GPL starts the regular season with 8 weeks of online arena action, which consists of 6 max and heads-up matches. Every Tuesday, all 6 teams from each conference will face off in 2 6-max sit-and-goes. One team in each conference will play as the home team, while the other 5 are away. Home team managers have the ability to pick their players once they have seen the lineup of the away teams. Points will be awarded to all teams competing except for the 6th place finisher per match. First will get 7 points, second 5 points, third 3 points, fourth 2 points, and 5th will get 1 point. Every Wednesday, each of the 6 Eurasian Conference teams will battle in 3 heads-up games against an opponent from another Eurasian Conference team. And every Thursday, each American Conference team will do the same. For heads-up, one team from each matchup will play at home, while the other away. All 3 games will be played, with 3 points awarded per game won and 0 points awarded per game lost, with a total of 9 points available. After the 8 weeks of online arena, live heads-up play will be introduced in the Global Poker League Summer Series in Las Vegas. Teams from GPL's 2 conferences will face off against each other in cross-conference heads-up play in 6 heats across 5 weeks of daily action. Just as in the online arena, during studio heads-up play, they will duel for 3 games, with 9 possible points available per match. After the summer series, the GPL regular season continues, with 6 more weeks of online arena action, after which the 2 teams at the bottom of each conference will be eliminated, and the remaining 8 will advance to the playoffs. The playoffs will see the much-awaited introduction of the Cube, the ultimate poker arena. A 2-day event hosted from an epic venue in North America at the end of September will see 8 teams reduced down to 4 in a completely revolutionary 3v3 format. Finally, the first season of the Global Poker League will conclude its play with the live finals, played from the Cube at the SSE Arena, Wembley, in London, where the champions of each conference will be determined on day 1. And finally, on the grand final on day 2, where the Americas Conference winner will face off against Eurasia's best to determine who will be crowned the Global Poker League champions.
Welcome back, guys. This is the Global Poker League. I'm Griffin Benger. This is Sam Grafton. We had a great match here on day 3 between Olivier Bousquet coming out over Darren Elias, 2 matches to 1. And but this is going to be a really exciting match coming up. 2 2 Swedish-born players in Martin Jacobson and Anton Wigg, and these guys are obviously people that you and I are familiar with, played many hands with them online, huge online pedigree. Anton Wigg alone, I believe, over almost $6.5 million in tracked online cashes, so he's obviously a huge threat, especially in the online arena, which is basically where they're playing. But it's interesting with the webcam, Sam, how it does make it kind of feel like a live experience, because we get to see how these guys are reacting.
Yeah, and it's going to be something slightly different with the webcam right now. Recently we've had Pat Say and Nenonoko and Sergei Lebedev. We had 2 guys who didn't really know anything about each other. They just kept quiet. Other times we've had players that may have bumped up against each other, but just keeping their distance. Here we've got 2 good friends with enormous talent playing against each other. So I think it'd be interesting to see whether these guys use the webcam for like a little bit of needle. I expect this match to be taken very seriously, but conducted in a bit more of a light-hearted manner, and that's going to be interesting to see.
Yeah, and obviously these guys are going to be playing for keeps. Now you look at the area that these two individuals were drafted. Martin Jacobson, of course, representing the Montreal Nationals, was drafted in the second round, and it's an interesting choice because obviously, you know, he's a player that you could see going even in the top 5 in a draft like this, but someone that a lot of people didn't necessarily anticipate he would be drafted by the Montreal Nationals in that spot. Of course, the controversy surrounding Jonathan Duhamel being selected by the Las Vegas Moneymakers, and so sort of a scramble move by I think Marc-Andre probably just expected to be able to draft him and hope to get Martin in the third round, but drafting him late in the second instead.
Well, I don't think you could call getting Martin Jacobson a scramble move. I think it shows Marc-Andre had a very, very good draft day. He's given himself a Canadian core rather, and then to add one star name from outside the Canadian region, Martin Jacobson. Obviously, we haven't mentioned it yet. A World Series of Poker champion took that title down for a huge score.
How much
$10
was that for?
million.
Was that $10 million US dollars? Wow.
Yeah, exactly. Pretty remarkable. And so it's great that a player like Martin, who can really do anything he wants now
forever.
Yeah, exactly. Decides to throw his hat into the ring and wants to be competitive and be part of the Global Poker League.
Yeah, and Anton Wigg, again, someone who has had a lot of success on the European Poker Tour himself. He is a winner of an EPT back in the day, and we're going to be seeing the match really, really soon. So we're really going to be excited about this. And let's see what these Swedes are up to. And for all of my Counter-Strike fans up there, you know what I always say.
I mean, blast from the past there. Both your Counter-Strike fans.
My 7 seconds of fame relived. So let's join the action now, guys. Let's get to the table as Martin Jacobson will be battling against Anton Wigg. Oh my God, these guys are so attractive. I'm sorry, I don't have a sensor, but oh Jesus, these guys are beautiful.
Of, Martin Jacobson's room. He's competing in the MA.
Is he standing up too? Look at him. He's preparing for the. Or is he sitting? I think he might be sitting.
All right, starting with some premiums.
Oh, looks like Anton being ghosted here early on with his friends in the background. Martin Jacobson also has a friend in the back there. Looks like a little bit of a punching bag. Was that Olivier Bousquet?
Both players obviously flopping something. Second pair for Anton Wigg and an up and down straight draw for Martin Jacobson.
It's going to be interesting right away.
Pretty interesting hand here. Anton Wigg electing to 3-bet the ace-jack early on in this match, deciding an interesting thing to check, call the flop, obviously capping his range a bit in this situation. And do you think that Martin's going to be attacking this sign of weakness?
I mean, I presume Anton is going to check some strong holdings in this spot as well.
Just going to have a bunch of semi-bluffs here.
Good read there by Anton Wigg, so it sounds like he will be calling again.
Jack of spades.
Here we go.
Could see the big bluff here already early on.
Considering I have.
Could this match end in just one hand? If Martin were to shove here and Anton call, we would have the first ever 1-for-1, one hand, one match over. Really interesting stuff here.
I guess.
And nice. Alright, off to a good start.
First big pot goes to Anton Wigg. Interesting, Martin did decide to bluff there. I guess he wants to have a spade in his hand to control his frequency there on the river, or you think he just doesn't have enough value hands on that run out, perhaps hands like Queen 10, when the spade comes in, he can't bet for value?
This is a great example. Sorry, Sam, but this is a great example about the card distribution thing we were talking about. Right away, we saw that huge hand that happened in the 3-bet pot, and now right away, top pair against top pair. Martin Jacobson, this is a huge flop for him normally, but he's really dominated by the ace-queen suited, and that's going to be a very, very interesting card, how Martin's going to continue, because he's way behind and really has no way to know it.
No reason to stop betting.
I think we're always going to anticipate a call here from Martin Jacobson, and whatever the river is, it's going to be certainly exciting.
That's that's a pretty good river too.
At least it wasn't the 9 of clubs.
Guess I have a few bluffs, but also pretty wide for value, so I can't go that big. And you do want to give him the chance.
Might be a little too big here from Anton, I think.
So it looks like playing the nuts. Right.
Rough start here for the Montreal national representative, Martin Jacobson. Obviously, 2 tough pots early on, and the blind's now already up to 3-6. He's only on 35 big blinds.
Lost it, hey Griff.
Yeah, I mean, he's completely washed up, to be perfectly honest with you. I mean, this is clearly he's just done. Old news. What up now, buddy?
Great start for Anton Wigg, as Griffin says.
Just keep.
Oh, this is going to look like it's going to turn the tables. And again, this is just 3 hands now, Sam.
Well so far.
And Anton thinks he's running well here, flopping top pair with the jack kicker.
Well,
but that's
little niner on the turn, he'd certainly be right.
It's one of those hands.
A nice big bet here by Martin Jacobson on the turn, knowing that Anton is not going to be able to fold a 9, and obviously Martin very comfortable getting it in. And if he gets cooler here against a flush, obviously only being 35 big blinds effective, certainly it'd be fine for him. That should freeze the action with Martin Jacobson rivering a 4-high flush.
Well, he does improve from chips to a flush, Griffin, so no seriousness, obviously not a good card for Martin Jacobson. I presume it's going to prevent him from value betting. He does check down and win.
All right, running good even when you're not running.
Obviously, it shows there's different ways to run good. There ran out so that ran out well from Anton that he didn't have to face a bet on the river.
Absolutely.
You can see that laser focus of Martin Jacobson. Anyone who's competed in EPTs with him or at the World Series knows he's someone that takes poker super seriously when he's at the table.
Really interesting matchup here. Obviously, the only 2 Swedish natives of Sweden? Natives of Sweden makes sense,
Swedes,
right?
you can just
Swedes,
say.
yeah, Swedes. That's my thing, too. I don't know, just Swedes. Obviously, a lot of players are representing their, their hometown and their country a lot of the time. These 2 guys representing the San Francisco Rush and the Montreal Nationals. So pretty interesting selections here. I think this is, a case of guys that coming from an online background. Faraz Jaka and Marc-Andre Ladissour. These guys are their peers. They look up to these guys, and that's really where that comes into play.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, obviously huge pedigree in Sweden. They've produced so many top players over the last 10 years. And if you look at the Pocket Fives ranking these days, there's a whole new generation of young Swedish players coming through, absolutely dominating the MTT world at the moment. And, it's really Martin Jacobson and Anton Wigg, guys like this that have blazed the trail for the Scandinavian players. Anton
Wigg deciding to peel here with the ace-deuce high. Obviously, we can see that he was drawing close to dead on the flop. But this is a pretty standard peel here with ace-deuce high. A lot of the time, Martin's going to have some draws, some, oh, that's a really action river card here. This has been an amazing distribution of cards, Sam.
Take a little stab at it.
Yeah, Anton, a little bit unfortunate the ace comes on the river.
Ace is a pretty stabbable card.
And seems unlikely, well, he's not going to be able to fold when Martin bets the river. So for those of you who are new to poker,
I figured that was going to be the
Wow,
best.
huge overbet.
It's a bit interesting in spots like this, considering I'm not sure if he ever checks back really strong on the turn, which I think is a really good play. These kind of dry textures, but I mean, I have my really, really good bluff catcher right now. Blocker to what it's representing, so I have to call this off.
There we go.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And finally, a little reaction from the
Nice
Swede.
Martin.
Martin liking the clawback in the match there, and that's something you really need to do, especially as the blinds go up, because being around 20,000 chips is never an enviable position at the 400, 800 blind, Sam.
again two very playable hands, Anton Wigg with the ace-jack, and Martin taking the flop with the king-9 suited, and it's Martin that flops best.
Equity stab. Expecting to get called back once.
Turn card that improves both players.
Much. Get a better protection too if I bet here and charge his draws, but I could get check raised, which would be terrible.
Huge river card for Martin here, making the second nut flush. It'll be a big decision if he decides to bet here, but a spot that I feel like Anton might be able to get away from his hand based on the sizing. If Martin bets small enough, Anton might call, thinking that Martin could be betting a smaller jack. But definitely going to be interesting and not an enviable spot here for Anton. Of course, Martin can have some spade combos that misses, so it's going to be tough.
Yeah, obviously the straight draws all made a pair or some kind of showdown, so it limits the number of bluffs Martin has. That's why he chose that smaller bet sizing on the river.
To bet bigger, but
so for those of you new to poker, so what Martin's doing there is he's selecting his best bet size, not based on the strength of his hand, even though he has a very strong hand, a flush. He's choosing a smaller sizing because he doesn't have many bluffs arriving on that river.
So after that start, I think we have ourselves a little fight.
And again, another board that we're seeing, top pair against top pair. This is one of those exciting things that brings a lot of action when these kind of things start happening.
He's going to go for... Is he going to check raise this? Oh, no, it's on Anton. Hard to tell sometimes who's checked.
No, Martin. I don't think it was going to be that easy.
I'm going to get used to it.
Pretty bad river card here for Martin. Obviously, I think he would get away from his hand if a spade peeled. Any like jack or a 7, he's going to be able to get away from his hand. This card is difficult because he's now chopping with any 10s that aren't included with a jack plus. So it's really going to be tough when he's faced a big bet. And now we see an overbet from Anton Wigg. Really good to see some of the overbetting come back into play, something that we didn't see a lot of in the Darren Elias match against Olivier Bousquet, but something we certainly saw a lot of out of the third match yesterday
and
between Bono.
We learn from the workshop,
So, just to reiterate, if you guys are joining us, this is two of the top poker players in the world, two of the top Swedish players. Martin Jacobson, a World Series of Poker champion on the right-hand side of your screen. Anton Wigg, an EPT champion on the left-hand side of your screen. These two are actually great friends in real life, but they're competing for two different franchises here. And by all, I thought it might be a bit more light-hearted, but in perhaps traditional Swedish style, the Swedish tournament players taking it super seriously.
Yeah, absolutely. And any fan of poker, and especially any Swedish fan of poker, they love seeing these guys represent the country. I really couldn't think of two better representatives from Sweden. for the GPL, and it's great that they were happening matched up here in this match. The blinds are already going to be up to 500, 1,000 guys, and that's really an indication only, 9 hands in, because every hand, it seems to be action-packed. First, we had that opening hand with the 3-bet with the ace-jack and 9-10, almost saw an all-in. We saw aces up over a top pair of aces, 2 overbets getting paid on the river. Really action-packed early on here between Anton and Martin.
And
That's a good thought.
same again here.
King in the tray.
Both players with a pair and a flush draw.
It's always interesting to play someone like Martin, who's like very, very well-rounded. Plays a really, really good, solid style. Really makes you think about, you have to think about your ranges and being protective.
It's a good river.
And I think I might go for the other thing rather bet here. Not sure how much he checks back strong on the flop. If he checks back his ace-5 type hands. But
They really wear their
feel like
glasses
it
well,
could
don't
be
they?
a bit
Just really good-looking human beings. I'm sorry, I'm respecting the talent that these guys bring to the sex appeal for the. We have maybe with some sex icons in the making here, some symbols. I mean, Martin, Jesus.
So Martin's got to decide whether to call or raise here on the river. Oh dear, anti-spanty.
No hesitation with the raise there by Martin Jacobson. Obviously, he's willing to kind of cooler himself if Anton ends up having a flush, just to make sure he gets value from something like a queen.
check turn 2.
Something to note early on here, by the way, Sam, we haven't seen one folded button, I believe, through the 9 hands, and that's obviously very evident with the 9-4 offsuit holding of Martin Jacobson, so there's going to be a lot of position play, for sure, early on in the match.
Tense moment here. Be a big swing in Martin. Well, it's going to be a swing in Martin's favour either way, but an even bigger swing if Anton pays off this river raise.
But also, I think it's hard for him to get here with a bluff that wants to raise this river. Break out my golden coin.
Martin obviously wanting a call now.
All right.
Anton concerned that Martin was turning perhaps an ace high or a 3 into a bluff, but he made the correct fold, but still a swing in Martin Jacobson's favour and reduces Anton's Wigg's lead in this match.
Yeah, for those watching at home, sometimes you might think, like, what is he even doing thinking about calling with just a 3 here when he gets raised? And that's kind of the level that these guys are on, that they really have to consider, it's really not easy to make a pair in Hold'em poker, especially heads up, so really got to consider all your options.
Martin, for those of you who aren't familiar with his background, the reason it seems that he's playing in a gym and he's got that rubber sort of punching bag in the background is just the same as Olivier Bousquet, who we saw in the last round of matches. I believe he has a sort of now an interest or a hobby is MMA fighting, and is that correct, Griff?
Yeah, that's another interesting thing is that obviously if you guys are tuned in for the second match of the the first match of the day today between Olivier Bousquet and Darren Elias, Olivier was training a big pot here. Sorry, I don't want to interrupt.
Yeah, this is how good these guys are. I
Yeah.
didn't expect Martin to be check raising here, but no pots going uncontested. I thought it was safe to give a little bit of background info, but these guys,
Yeah.
they're going to war.
Well, no, it's interesting, these back-to-back matchups, seeing, two guys who are training in MMA right now, and it really shows in their chiseled features. I mean, these guys have obviously been hard training. I think I saw a video the other day on Twitter from Martin with some of the training he's been doing, whether it's MMA or boxing. So it's going to be an interesting contrast seeing these just like, these ripped individuals who focus so much on their body and eating well, and they're just awesome. They're great. Great for the game.
Paired up on the turn.
And really dispelling the the myth about the gamers and poker players about the old school back rooms and the guts hanging over the table. That's really not the way that the game is played these days, and it's really evident with these guys.
Good contrast to us two, Griff.
Huh?
It's a good job they're dispelling the myth because we're not.
Yeah, well, yeah. Not at all.
Yeah, take our showdown here.
And Martin check raised the flop, but then when he doesn't turn,
I like that hand for semi-bluff over several streets.
Yeah, Anton's
Just to turn a lot of equity.
explaining
a lot of times,
to you there. Yeah,
keep barreling.
Martin picks that hand to check raise bluff, and then he's going to continue to bluff. He's got the queen of hearts. He's going to be able to bluff a heart. He's going to be able to bluff a six. He's going to sometimes take the lead with a queen. That's how he selects his hand. He doesn't just bluff.
Trying to get a one-off, it's about what can potential. Yeah,
he doesn't bluff regardless of the turn card. When he doesn't turn any additional equity, he just surrenders and lets Anton win the pot.
It's a little bit more shallow. I'm going to be limping or moon racing.
Pretty big hands to be dealt here at the at the 6-12 level. Obviously, this is just something where we can see the money going in. If Martin 3-bets here, I would imagine Anton's going to shove, and we're going to see an all-in confrontation here, perhaps.
I think he's probably just. I don't think he's going to shove. I don't know, but.
You don't think Anton's going to shove for this many blinds effective? Ace-9's a pretty strong hand. What else is he supposed to do? Just fold it flat?
I think he's just going to call.
It's only 22 big blinds behind, so I think there's a fair bit of the time that Anton Wigg will shove this hand.
Ace-9 doesn't flop so well then.
Yeah.
So really
be a very disciplined fold, but from Anton Wigg. But again, as we've seen in some of these heads-up matches, a lot of 3-betting with non-equity hands, and that's why we see the shove.
What?
So we have Ace-9 all in here against Pocket Nines. We're just doing a little pause to break it down here, and let's see ourselves a flop.
Hey!
Huge flop there, obviously, for Anton Wigg.
How
and
dare
he will secure victory here as long as he dodges a 9. So let's see the turn.
Just one out.
And that's not good news for Martin Jacobson. It looks like the San Francisco Rush will take the first match here, just dodging that one outer.
GG. Martin Jacobson
in the books.
Getting unlucky.
I'd rather be lucky than good sometimes. I'd rather be both.
Anton Wigg winning the first match in the Battle of the Swedes. And of course, we should say this is the first. Oh, they're going to be able to speak to each other.
Oh, that's fantastic. Yeah, I'd love to see some banter between the two Swedes here.
I don't know whether there's a Swedish word for banter.
I actually know a couple Swedish words.
Too excited yet. I still have 2 more to go.
Hey guys, I'm Griffin Benjer. This is Sam Grafton. That was 2 Swedish guys playing poker, and Martin Jacobson falling in the first match to Anton Wigg. Anton obviously getting lucky in that last hand there with the Ace-9, but definitely, in my opinion, a cooler. Sam maybe disagreeing a little bit, but being at that stack depth and the fact that, especially after seeing all these other heads-up matches where they take no equity holdings, the only real move there is to shove, and I think it was fine. He is 30% against pretty much the entire range, value range that Martin's going to have, and in that case, he did hit the ace, and it was fun to use the pause does feature a little bit and build the suspense. I'm sure we're going to be able to use that a lot better for you guys at home. But a great first victory there for the San Francisco Rush, Anton Wigg.
Yeah, absolutely. And we should point out that these are the first 3 points ever secured for the San Francisco Rush. I think I've
very good
corrected
point. Wow,
saying,
that's absolutely
after
correct.
Anthony Gregg didn't manage to put any points on the board over those first 6 max matches, Anton Wigg's going to be really proud to be able to bring in 3 points for his franchise and get off to a great start against his friend, Martin Jacobson.
And a nice storyline that we haven't touched on, too, is the fact that the way that Anton Wigg was drafted by the San Francisco Rush, if you didn't tune into the draft, it was actually, I believe, a coin was flipped between him and someone else, and then Anton Wigg was the one that won the flip. So that was obviously great to get him involved in this league. So for him to be the first person to put up any points for the San Francisco Rush, it's just a great story, and I'm sure he's going to try to his best to secure another 6 points for his team. But Martin Jacobson's going to have a lot to say about that, and he's obviously one of the best talents in the world.
Yeah, exactly. Two great players. I mean, that's the thing. Day in, day out, we're going to see high-caliber stuff. Really, it shows that amongst the 72 players, there's very few weaklings. Anton Wigg went number 4 in the draft. We saw also with Vulter Chakariki, who went 4 in the draft. These guys are still top quality poker players, and Anton just confirming that for us really today. He played exceptionally well. Obviously, he got a little bit of the rub of the green, particularly at the edge. Anyway, we're going to go over to the lounge now, see Eric Denis and Laura Cornelius, who are going to tell us a little bit more about where that leaves us in the standings.
Thank you so much, Sam, and thank you so much, Griffin. The Battle of the Swedes is in full swing. That is 3 points there to the San Francisco Rush, the first 3 points as well.
14 hands is all it took, Lauren.
I thought it was going to be over in 1.
It looked like it could be over in 1 or 2. Jacobson falling behind really early, but really we're almost level just 2 hands after that. So some quite amazing play by both the Swedes, and unlucky break by Jacobson, whose 9s are counterfeited by the flop, and 3 points. The first 3 points, as Sam Crafton mentioned, the first 3 points for the San Francisco Rush.
This, I think, was the best looking matchup so far as well.
I must say, the green juices are working very well for both Anton Wigg and for Martin Jacobson. Jacobson, if you've followed poker for a few years, has never been a bad-looking guy, but he just keeps on looking better and better. Good-looking guy.
Indeed. So we've got the San Francisco Rush now on 3 points. Are they still at the bottom of the Americas, though?
That's right. The only way for them to actually move up a rank they'd have to sweep. So even if they win this next match, they'll stand at 6 points and still be far behind the top place. But still, another win out of those two would really help them recover that way. By the way, Griffin Benjer was trying to remember about the coin flip. Yeah. It was with Jonathan Jaffe, who of course became the wildcard pick. Probably the worst kept secret in wildcard history, that Faraz Jaka would pick Jonathan Jaffe as his wildcard.
He's a good friend, right?
That's right, Jonathan Jaffe, a very good friend. And Jonathan Little, who's playing for the Las Vegas Moneymakers, mentioned that it's probably the best according to him, the best wildcard pick of the bunch, Jonathan Jaffe. So had he won the...
We don't know about LA's wildcard yet, though.
We don't know yet. Yeah, Mr. Little might revise his statement. But had that gone, if that might have been heads or tails, however that coin flipped, it would have been Anton Wigg who would have been their wild card. So again, worst kept secret in wildcard history.
Just explain a little bit for those people just joining us how this all emerged. So we had a draft. Right. And then we had wildcards as well, but later.
Right. That's right. There was a 4-round draft, and the draft was determined by a lottery, a very exciting lottery that, Laura, you were part of. And that's right. It's called a snake-style draft. And for those of you who are familiar with the year-long fantasy drafts, you'll recognize the term. The team that drafts first in the first round drafts last in the second round, not to give so much of a big advantage to those that get the first few picks. You do get the advantage of picking probably the best player in the first round, but then the worst player in the second round. So those that were drafting 1 and 2 were then drafting 23 and 24. And for some teams, usually it's better to be in the middle of those. And for some teams actually being lower, picking lower. I think Hong Kong were in a perfect position for them. Paris as well. Paris were drafting late in the first round, early in the second round. They knew the 2 players they wanted. They were quite certain that both would be there as long as Elke was their first pick. So it just depends on strategy. Following that, we had the 2 wildcard picks. As you mentioned, Maria Ho has yet to sign her second wildcard. The mystery is just continuing here, Laura.
Yeah.
The suspense is building. Every other team has secured both of their wildcards. 10 of the 12 teams, or I guess, yes, 10 of the 12 teams The managers will be playing two teams.
So the managers had the choice to choose themselves to play as a wild card
That's
or
right.
not. It's up to them.
And that's
You'd want to though, wouldn't you? If I was a manager,
It's
I'd be like,
curious, though, Laura,
"Daddy's
because we
getting
had to actually add that option of a second wild card because we just assumed that every manager would want to play. But for some reasons, we mentioned Andre Akari. There's just so many good players in Brazil. He wanted to make sure that as many Brazilians got to participate. He thought as a manager, he can represent the club, make those hard decisions, probably not have to make a decision of does he play himself in the cube maybe later down the line to leave himself clean and to pick the three players. And for Philip Grusom, he's a man that's got a lot of stuff going on, including some great charitable initiatives that he works so hard on. He does a lot of charitable work, a lot of business ventures as well. So he decided that he wanted to concentrate on the team manager aspect, really devote all his time to that and not be part of the team. And he gets to pick two of his good friends in Jungle Man and Bill Perkins.
Bill Perkins was an interesting choice,
two very
I
good
thought.
friends. Three nosebleed, high-stakes players. They've played some of the sickest cash games, I'm sure. Bill Perkins, who might not be familiar to many of you, might not be a top-ranked poker player, but certainly has the experience having played with some of the biggest poker players in the world.
Always in those really high buy-in tournaments, the one drops.
Also, I can't wait to see him on camera. He is an entertaining fellow, and he should be fun to watch throughout the season.
I wonder when we're going to see him.
I don't know.
Could be a while.
We'll have to see if Grusom adopts the same strategy as putting the same player, just like Chris
all the
Moneymaker did
games.
as well, all of next week. I think that strategy might change for both of those teams, even if it sort of worked well for Moneymaker's team. I think we saw how bad it can go, even if you play your best poker. So does Jungle Man, does he end up in a rut, in a slump, because he's played so well, yet he only collected 3 points for his team?
Well, I can divulge that Moneymaker is not employing the same tactic for week 2.
Oh, it's Laura Cornelius with the scoops.
I can divulge that Grusom is. At the moment, if they don't, they should.
That's right, the managers still have
It
time.
should stay as it is.
That's right, managers still have time to change selections. We actually have a rumor of a possible manager sighting next week.
Manager be manager next week, yeah. The
that
first time a manager plays as well. We haven't had any managers playing this week, have we?
It'll be interesting.
Right, so we're going to go back to the battle of the Swedes. I'm very excited. Can the world champion equalize in this next game to make it 1-1? Or will San Francisco Rush make it 2-0? Back to the desk.
Thanks so much, Laura. Again, guys, this is the Global Poker League. This is day 3 of the action, the second day of heads-up matches. Right now, we're watching Martin Jacobson against Anton Wigg, both Swedes, as we have talked about so far.
Anton able to win. That?
We have mentioned that they're both Swedish. That's like the narrative that we were told by the producers to go with. So, so again, both of them representing different places. Montreal Nationals for Martin Jacobson, the second round he was selected. Fourth round selection for the San Francisco Rush was Anton Wigg, and we're going to be doing something a little different in this match, Sam. We're actually going to open up the mics between the two of them so that they can interact during the match. Again, this is early days of the GPL, and we're going to be experimenting with different ways to interact with the audience as well, with each other. So that's going to be something interesting and new to see how that develops.
Yeah, that's exciting. So we're opening up the mics between Anton and Martin so that they can chat with each other and see how this format works out. Again, hopefully it'll be an opportunity for us to sit back and have a cup of coffee and let those guys do the work on our behalf. We'll just have to see how it works. Do tweet into us and let us know. We're taking on board ideas from the wider public. Tweet to and use the hashtag GPL or tweet at GPL and tell us what you think of these new formats as we roll them out over the next few weeks.
Now, before we do get to this match, let's talk about how quickly that match the first match ended up happening. I mean, we saw a lot of, the card distributions obviously overall were in favor of Anton Wigg, but a lot of huge flops where people were flopping, aces up against 2 pair against 1 pair, a lot of interesting hands. So, this is obviously one of those matches that, anything can happen. Let's go pick up on the action now because it looks like we are going to be starting the second match.
Martin's changed his hoodie in preparation.
Anton liking the coverage there, having a good laugh. I love his laugh. It's so funny.
He's a Sam Squid fan. What can I say?
Yeah. Aren't we all?
I think I should be mentioning too that I'm in Helsinki right now. I've been
Treacherous.
at dinner at Timothy Adams' place, and I got Faraz Jaka, the team manager, and Jeff Sawyer here close by rooting on. So if you see me look left every now and then, it's for confirmation of things are going well, or maybe things aren't going so well. I think you have to check call once at least with King High. Could have a fair amount of deuces, but
So it looks like we actually haven't opened up the mics between them, and if they have, Martin's certainly going to know what Anton has. Okay, so we actually decided we're not going to do that feature for this match. They had some problems hearing each other, but that's something to look forward to definitely in future episodes of the Global Poker League.
6 slow roll for the audience.
Yeah, I know.
Maybe it's an optimistic turn peel. I just feel like I'm pretty high up, but I feel like this is going to happen a lot of the time. I really like this as a trap, though, if I had it.
Then check raise. No blocker, spade or anything. So obviously Anton tossing that into the muck. Again, guys, for the people at home that don't understand what we're talking about when we say blockers, it's just about having cards that make it less likely for the other person to have, in that case, the king of spades would have been nice because then he could, potentially have another spade in his hand a portion of the time. But facing an overbet, really hard to do any sort of check raise goofiness. Really unbelievable action-packed flop here. I don't know who's running the software in this match, but it's definitely trying to rush through it. They're trying to get us home early, Sam.
I'd love to do that.
A fair bit.
Again, a turn card that improves both players, although it's be interested to see if Anton just checks this back
Stop betting here.
or bets for value.
Pretty big bet, I feel like. Some order. Maybe it's better to go a little bit smaller. Keep a little bit more of his range in play.
This is obviously going to be a huge river card here, so I'm going to make him sweat it. Give him a little pause piece for the river.
A lot of my gut shots.
But if you do that, won't they know that it's a big hand developing?
No, it's damage.
Won't it be like a...
No, we've talked about that. I don't think that it... Oh,
Okay,
yeah, you're right.
I'll
Maybe you're right. There it is anyway.
And that.
Oh!
What did you just do?
I don't know.
On my screen, I got it.
What have you just
producers!
done? What have you just done, Griff?
I just hit the unpause button.
Griff, what have you
some
done?
technical difficulties here. Producers, please.
There's 6 cards on the board.
Hashtag sack Benga. Let's get it
It's
trending.
Benger. Producer, please. You're going to want to see this. We have 6 cards on the board.
I mean,
Producer Lewis.
what a debacle.
I didn't write the software. So what is the river here? Can we talk about the 6
well,
cards?
the river was the deuce of diamonds. We've now got a 7 of spades
I
blocker
can see our producer
randomly
running
played.
across the hall. Thanks for bearing with us here, guys. This is obviously super complicated situation that's happening here, especially given that they have the nuts over nuts. This is an absolute nightmare for the graphics here.
Why are you coming to us? It's nothing to do with me. It's nothing to do with me. Blame this guy. Fiddling around.
I don't know. I think dicking around is a little strong.
Can we go back to the? Can we go back to the screen, please?
Yeah. You should get in there. Great. So yeah, back at the desk here.
Back to the
Six cards on the board.
Griffin, explain to us what you did there on the river. Let's talk through your thought process. When you press these buttons, what were you thinking?
So obviously they were heading to the river, both having a lot of equity, and I didn't really think through the fact, like you mentioned, about how it'll be a weird deposit. Yeah, it'd be a bit weird. It was a bit of a brain fart. Obviously, these are really long days here at the Global Poker League, and that's another. But it's funny because obviously you and I are pretty big poker fans ourselves, completely amateur pro podcasters for sure. But you know, we as poker fans, we want to make the experience as good as the best possible for us.
As
and for
poker fans, we want
listen,
there to be 6 cards in play. Or we want an extra river all the time. Catch you later. So the situation is, at the moment, I think they're just going to have a moment to digest it, and maybe we're going to restart that match again. No one was interested in that flush over flush hand anyway.
No, not
So
at all. It
like
wasn't like it was the most exciting hand of the match, and actually the biggest cooler in GPL history, and I completely ruined it.
You know, at least they're not important people in the poker community.
No, not at all.
Martin Jacobson, a world champion, kindly volunteered his services.
Well, you know what I should have done? I shouldn't have showed my hand there and made it.
Oh my days.
Yeah, an interesting match here. Not our finest work here at the Global Poker League. What was it? The teething, the growing pains. Definitely feeling it here. And we are getting that sorted out as we speak.
We will be back with you shortly. Just to recap where we are. Obviously, Anton Wigg.
We're on the river, and they both have massive hands, and all of this is my fault.
There's people running back and forward.
And if you're asking what is up now, Swedes. A lot of nonsense. We're going to look at the tournament format video so that we can get our ducks in a row here at the GPL.
But do stay with us. These guys will be back, and then we'll be playing at some point in the next 20 minutes.
The Global Poker League consists of 12 worldwide teams, 6 in the Eurasian Conference and 6 in the American Conference. Each team has a total of 6 players, and the manager of that team may choose whoever they like to play at any time, provided each player on their team plays a minimum of 6 matches across the season. The GPL starts the regular season with 8 weeks of online arena action, which consists of 6 max and heads-up matches. Every Tuesday, all 6 teams from each conference will face off in 2 6-max sit-and-goes. One team in each conference will play as the home team, while the other 5 are away. Home team managers have the ability to pick their players once they have seen the lineup of the away teams. Points will be awarded to all teams competing except for the 6th place finisher per match. First will get 7 points, second 5 points, third 3 points, fourth 2 points, and 5th will get 1 point. Every Wednesday, each of the 6 Eurasian Conference teams will battle in 3 heads-up games against an opponent from another Eurasian Conference team. And every Thursday, each American Conference team will do the same. For heads-up, one team from each matchup will play at home, while the other away. All 3 games will be played, with 3 points awarded per game won and 0 points awarded per game lost, with a total of 9 points available. After the 8 weeks of online arena, live heads-up play will be introduced in the Global Poker League Summer Series in Las Vegas. Teams from GPL's 2 conferences will face off against each other in cross-conference heads-up play in 6 heats across 5 weeks of daily action. Just as in the online arena, during studio heads-up play, they will duel for 3 games, with 9 possible points available per match. After the summer series, the GPL regular season continues, with 6 more weeks of online arena action, after which the 2 teams at the bottom of each conference will be eliminated, and the remaining 8 will advance to the playoffs. The playoffs will see the much-awaited introduction of the Cube, the ultimate poker arena. A 2-day event hosted from an epic venue in North America at the end of September will see 8 teams reduced down to 4 in a completely revolutionary 3v3 format. Finally, the first season of the Global Poker League will conclude its play with the live finals, played from the Cube at the SSE Arena, Wembley, in London, where the champions of each conference will be determined on day 1. And finally, on the grand final on day 2, where the Americas Conference winner will face off against Eurasia's best to determine who will be crowned the Global Poker League champions.
So there you go, that is the tournament format. That is what is happening over the next 8 months here at the Global Poker League. Apologies about that last match there, the Battle of the Swedes. There was a slight technical glitch. We will be getting back to the action very, very soon though. The Swedes will continue to battle. I'm very excited to watch them battle as well.
they just wanted to play a little more, right?
Yeah,
To-
of
to-
course.
To have some
That
fun.
was what it was.
That's right, played a little more poker. Interesting to see, we talked about health earlier, but it's interesting to see both Wigg and Jacobson looking so good, looking so healthy. And we mentioned there is a revolution in poker. If you haven't watched poker before and just think it's a back room, a poker room filled with smoke, those are the days of the past. I mean, the old days of drinking.
Oh, for sure.
Things have changed
I remember
a lot.
it was Eugene Kachalov, in fact, who's
Right.
another member of LA Sunset. He was a big one that started this kind of revolution.
He almost triggered it,
Elke
you're right.
also, and then Lex Veldhouse, Elke wanting to train against each
Even
other.
Daniel Negreanu was just a little scrawny guy. He's now
Yeah.
in shape, and he's a vegan. He's always been a vegan, but just taking better care of himself. And we see that on tour. We see it with a lot of players. And you've seen our lineups this week.
Even a few in our Global Poker League. Look at players like Jason
mean-
Wheeler. Used to be a
That's
lot
right.
bigger than what he is now. He's lost a lot of weight, hasn't he?
And then there's different guys. There's Olivier Bousquet, who wasn't bigger, and now he's huge.
He's pumping
That's
up.
right. But you can see that. You can see that with most of the players we've seen in our league, that is the new trend. The new trend in poker, and at least it's a healthy trend. There's so many bad trends that
I
we
don't
can
know.
get
There's
involved
something
in,
though I like about the dirty back room and the smoking.
Yeah.
And it's kind of what it used to be like in
Yeah.
Las Vegas kind of thing.
I like the new.
I know.
poker. You know that.
I mean, the new one is better,
That's
but
right.
I mean,
it's better
that's
for the
kind
health of the players. We tend to forget that, we're not going to call them athletes necessarily, but they do spend 12, 13, 14 hours during the World Series, for example. They're playing 7 days a week, 12 hours a day, if all is going well. They're starting at noon or 11 a.m. They're ending, it's dark out. They don't have time to do anything else but play poker. So it is rigid, both on their bodies and on their minds.
And
So-
recreational players do not realize how tough going this actually is. I played like my first event a year and a half ago at the World Series. Never played anything like that before in my life. I couldn't even last like 4 hours. I was exhausted. You just don't realize how exhausting it
Laura,
is.
there must be a glitch on the hand of mob because I did not see your result there. Was there an error? Did
There
you not find a
wasn't a
table at that
result.
event? Oh, there was no result. I'm so sorry.
That was the little one for one drop, so
Oh.
that was a really big field, Eric.
You donated. You were very nice. You gave a
I
donation
did. I gave
to-
Maria Ho some chips actually. She got put on my table. LA Sunset manager.
That's very nice
yeah,
of you.
me and her playing poker together.
And by the way, thank you for celebrating such a great Canadian charity. We all appreciate you donating to One Drop, and Maria appreciates you donating to her as well. So.
I know. Right, we're going to head back to the desk very shortly. We're going back to the battle of the Swedes, hopefully. Anton Wigg is up against the world champion, Martin Jacobson. I can't wait to watch this one again.
Thanks, Laura. Again, I'm Griffin Benger. This is Sam Grafton. Some growing pains here early, obviously, in the early goings here of the Global Poker League. But an unfortunate bug that's obviously going to, it wasn't great. It wasn't a good thing to see, but we are going to restart the match. And these guys will obviously understand just for game 2, obviously. And hopefully it'll be some good action. I mean, these guys have really been playing well so far.
Yeah,
Yeah.
indeed.
Yeah.
So Anton won the first game. This is going to be restarting game 2. Just be careful what you press there.
Yeah, jeez.
The game will kick off. Martin
And both
Jacobson
a little
and
smirk
Anton
on their
Wigg.
face,
All right, we're back. And I guess, he's only the world champ, so he needs a little bit of a handicap.
So great sportsmanship from these guys. Obviously, the two people it does affect most, of course, is Martin and Anton themselves, particularly when one of them made that ace-high flush on the river there. Kind of frustrating that we got our first glitch with the software. But those guys taking it in their stride, really appreciate the kind of professional attitude from these guys. Not like they've thrown the pram out of the, rattle out of the pram and got upset about it. They're just getting on with it, and this is going to be an exciting second match, I'm sure, Griffin.
Yeah, thankfully, obviously, these guys are great sports. They understand things like this are going to happen, and obviously that would have been a really big cooler hand. But we're just going to move on from it and focus on this second match. And a pretty interesting flop texture here early on in this second match between Anton and Martin.
Fairness of the game. I feel like it's important to. Martin was actually the one that brought it up.
think they're going to even up the chip stacks. Is that what they're going to do, Griff?
Yeah, they're having a discussion right now about dumping some chips, just because Martin obviously feels like it's unfair having obviously lost a few of the early pots there. So they're just in a discussion right now to do what's fair. And you know, this is a thing that happens. It's obviously not standard at all, but it's just in this format. It's just
Right, so
you know,
we
they're
have
trying to make it as fair as
decided that-
possible.
Normally,
We'll let
what
them
would
take
be
it from
fair is that you'd compensate them in some kind of way, Griffin. Perhaps with some kind of, you know, seeing as it was your fault, Griff. What do you think?
I'll get over it with time and counseling. And never looking at the Twitch chat ever in my entire life. Which I have open right now.
No,
Oh yeah, they're really enjoying
Griffin,
it here.
I'm sure they're saying really nice things about you in the Twitch chat. I wouldn't
Firebencher. They're out here ready to. Yeah, it's. Here we go. Cheddar Bob. Yes, I do like that though. The Cheddar Bob thing. I have gotten that before from 8 Mile. You know Cheddar Bob? He shoots himself in the foot. Shoots himself in the leg.
So, yeah, as you described, a few growing pains, teething problems, whatever, with the GPL. Obviously, this is somewhat to be expected.
Yeah, so
They're an absolute riot on Twitch. I love it.
Mate, I bet on the first day of the NHL there was problems. 3 days in.
Yeah, I mean,
3 days into the first football league.
11,000.
Yeah, and so they're deciding now what they're gonna do
Martin
here.
is gonna be forced to call and give up his.
The one day I don't wear pants too.
We got a tweet here from Max Silva. I'm going
Yeah.
to read. Giving commentators the power to pause the game mid-hand seems like a massive mistake for game integrity. Hashtag GPL.
Well, yeah, well, that was the whole thing. I mean, the nature of the pause functionality was simply when the cards were already all on their back and they're all in. Obviously, I had a bit of a brain fart with these long days because it was obviously an exciting river to be coming. So I definitely I can understand why he would say something like that, and this is obviously something we're going to be trying to fix in the future.
So who had more chips in that?
I believe it. Anton it's the forced to. Well, we're going to see right now the way that they even it out.
On the plus side, my Sack Griffin Benga tweet is one of the most is
So
getting more
this is a bit
retweets than
awkward,
anything before.
of course, considering my holding and
The extra 40.
Martin's holding. But in fairness of the game, we just gotta get back to where we were, and I think we're on the same blind level as well.
So now these guys are going to be playing for real. Two of the top poker
now
minds
we're
in the
back
world.
to where we were when we left
Battling it
off
out.
with a bit of technical glitch. Sorry about that to the audience, but you know, it's the way things go sometimes.
So
Just trying to make it as
just to clarify,
sportsman as possible for you guys.
just to clarify, it's not that we were playing around with the technology. We don't have any control over the cards that come. Just Griffin was trying to pause the game there, which is a new feature we're trying to implement, where we're making pauses in all-in situations, and
Downs,
that caused some kind of glitch in the technology. It was a new feature we were trying to roll out today.
turns.
There we go.
Not really that much of a reason for me to bet here.
Martin Jacobson running good. Turn and rivering 2 pair.
It's probably bluff here.
Huh, a good old bet check bet. That's big too. I'd be expecting to barrel most of this. All these queens. All these open unders. Wrapping very slim here, but at the same time, is it one of those spots where you We bluff. It's like Jack X type hands that would value that. It's interesting sizing.
Call key high.
Anton deliberating long and hard here with just ace high.
So the meta game comes in, but like, what hands do you want to give up that connected on this river? 4-3, 6.
Wow.
6-3,
Anton
6-3
Wigg
maybe?
calling Martin Jacobson's hand pretty much.
I don't know, my hand doesn't look very strong. Looks very bluff catchy, but he's bluffing against obviously showdown value. Alright. I'm gonna let this one go.
Really interesting
Pretty
hand
low
there.
down in my range, but it's also a good bluff catcher.
Amazing that Anton could identify how few value bets Martin had
Check it
taking
out,
that line.
yeah.
Identified
Martin
4-3
is
as one
a
of
really
them.
good player.
Yeah, it shows the hand reading abilities of these great talents, and Anton explaining his thought process here.
Yeah, to steal a line from Norman Chad. Don't invite either of these guys to your home game. Anton Wigg showing just
Could go either way.
how impressive his poker hand reading abilities are.
Fine, given that I have a lot of turn barrels where I would be putting a lot of pressure on. I'm giving myself some protection. Yeah. Yeah, it would be a 2-street float where I would have to overbluff, I feel like. I know.
Nice semi-bluff here from Martin
I don't bet
Jacobson.
it
Obviously going to get it
with
through.
100% frequency on this texture, but I feel like it's nice to have some type of wheelie ace-x backdoor flush draw type hands for a lot of future runouts. Off. I've been 3-betting pretty frequently. So I'm gonna 3-bet this combo some of the time. I don't think this is the time though.
It's interesting to see the different hand combinations that these guys choose to 3-bet with. We saw Olivier Bousquet, of course, talking about how much he likes to 3-bet a hand like 8-9 off. He was talking about how he wants to keep that in his range of combos. So obviously, and that also is kind of lends credence to the ace-9 shove that Anton Wigg made in that first match, where it was, sometimes people are taking really low equity hands to 3-bet, and sometimes they just have it. In that case, of course, Martin Jacobson did have pocket nines and got unlucky to lose the first match for the Montreal Nationals.
8-9 off is kind of borderline. The stacked ups might be overfolding a tiny bit, but it's not that much at all. Suited, there's no way I'm ever folding that.
So if you've just joined us, this is the GPL. This is Martin Jacobson, a world champion from Sweden, representing the Montreal Nationals, against Anton Wigg from Sweden, representing San Francisco Rush. He, of course, is an EBT champion himself. Anton Wigg won the first game, and we had a slight technical hitch, which means we restarted the second game. And now these guys pretty evenly paired in terms of, evenly matched in terms of chips. And we're going to be following these guys through this match, and then it's a best of 3 series.
Yeah, again, and this is the third day of matches here at the Global Poker League. And if you want some more information, please go to the website at www.globalpokerleague.com. You're going to can see replays. A lot of the early matches, extremely exciting. Notably, Daniel Jungleman Cates, his match against the Frenchman Elke representing the Paris Aviators, as well as the really technically sound, almost poetic matchup between Timothy Adams and Justin Bonomo. Bonomo, of course, taking 2 of 3 from Timothy Adams, and then Randy Liu and Sergei Lebedov. They had a clean sweep there from the Hong Kong Stars. So a lot of great matches yesterday, a lot of great matches today, and so far these two really showing how talented they are and the kind of pedigree they have with all that success. Again, Anton Wigg, almost $6.5 million in tracked online earnings, and of course Martin Jacobson, over 15 million live, 2/3 of which came from a pretty special tournament that a lot of our viewers might be familiar with, the World Series main event.
It's a good thought, and it's super wet. Wet meaning There being a lot of draws on it.
Thanks, Anton. Maybe we could get him to replace you, Griff.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's a great description of the board texture there.
Go pretty big here. I could also choose a overbet strategy in this type of turn. But my usual strat is pretty straightforward, big bet on this bit of a texture. There we go for the value.
So you can see how carefully these guys consider every
Backdoor
decision.
flush being a slight concern, of course.
In terms of absolute hand strength.
Since that makes up some part of his range, but I'm not too worried about it.
Yeah. Nice spot there for Anton Wigg.
It's a pretty good hand. It's a pretty poor flop. Guess we want to go ahead and... I think it's fine to get a bit more pot controller sometimes. Pretty strong bluff catcher. Not happy at all if I'm getting check raised or even check call. Check call being the best option, of course.
Great turn card here, obviously, for Martin, turning 3 of a kind with the ace-deuce. Anton just a little unlucky here to be drawing dead. And if he does decide to, call a bet, pardon me, he's actually going to be betting here on this turn. So, Martin, do you think this is a check raise spot here for Martin?
Yeah, I think he's going to check raise
Holding
here.
out the turn, we check back the deuce. Fair. Get at the time here.
Anton can bet a hand like this and then just check it back on the river. Bet a hand like pocket threes or 6x on the turn and then just check it back on the river.
Touche. I do want to take one. That's not a great river. I expect him to do this with a lot of low flush draws, maybe a couple of gut shots. It's a board I don't think he thinks he's going to be able to bet twice and get me to fold a lot of showdown value, so it's better off check raising those type of hands. And on the 8 of Hearts River, it's just got too many value combos for me to profitably call down. Then I just have to tap the table.
Really great hand breakdown here from Anton.
Nice hand, Martin. Oh, get a walk. Maybe he was bluffing me. Felt like giving a bit back.
I think that's also an example, Sam, of maybe strategies shifting based off the fact that you have now seen the kind of hands that for instance, in the first match, Martin Jacobson playing hands like 9-4 off, and seeing that he was playing like 100% of buttons. Maybe that'll incline Anton to be 3-betting more from the big blind, and that's an adjustment that Martin's making.
Yeah, but I guess 9-4's got a little bit more high card value than deuce 3. Yeah, I mean that's really the number.
So you do want to keep your heads-up game fairly sharp. A lot of your profit is going to come from winning in 2 or 3-handed games.
Yeah, Anton pointing out that there though that although
most of my time I spend playing 6 to 9 max. So this is this is nice. I get to practice my heads up against really, really tough opposition like Martin is, and you know, if you want to brush up on your game, it's a good opportunity to do so. I think I want to call here. I do have a bunch of traps in hand, but this is 3-bet range. It's a bit borderline though, not super deep. But this is a pretty favorable flop structure for my exact hand. Turn even more equity a lot of the time.
Yeah, so the ace of hearts is going to keep Anton involved here.
And that's one of the reasons why.
That's a fun card. I mean, there's 2 flush draws out there. I can't really go anywhere. He's going to be shoving a very high frequency here. All right, let's see what you got.
Jeez.
That's a good hand. That's the second W.
No, Martin Jacobson has still got a couple of big blinds behind.
About 9 big blinds left here in this match.
Cooler.
He's really under it, and this is going to be an all-in and a call.
Jackson, it's right there. Yeah, it's a call. Good flop for him, but
A diamond needed
we can do.
for Anton Wigg, and now it's Martin.
He just needs to dodge a 4, 3, 9 or an ace here. He does do so. And that is going to be 2 straight for Anton Wigg. Great start for the San Francisco Rush representative. That's 6 points on the board. And like you said, shutout until this this match. So things going great here. And it looks like Anton Wigg was a good selection here for this heads-up match, Sam.
Yeah, fantastic performance from Anton Wigg. Again, it's really amongst the toughest opposition in the world. These 2 good friends, but obviously so competitive, in such competitive individuals. Anton Wigg's going to be over the moon to put 6 points on the board for the San Francisco Rush. Again, we apologize. We did have those technical difficulties early on and had to restart the second match, but that's hopefully all behind us now. And those guys put on a hugely great show.
Yeah, absolutely. And going into this third match, obviously, Martin Jacobson doesn't want to put up a big donut for the Montreal Nationals. And, you know, it's just a matter of just the way that the hands played out. Obviously, you know, that great defend with the ace-8 there in that last big hand there. Deciding to float the king 7-5, 2-heart board with the ace-8, ace of hearts, getting that great turn card and winning the match. And, you know, obviously an unfortunate turn of events there for Martin, but you really can't blame him once he decides to take that hand to 3-bet and get that kind of run out. Just wasn't his day there for the second match. But again, trying to get 3 points for the Montreal Nationals. He's one of the only representatives, maybe the lone representative, not Canadian. So he's really going to want to put on a good show here for his Canucks. I know I would.
Yeah, of course. I mean, Martin Jacobson, incredible pedigree. But, you know, there's bragging rights as well. When 2 good friends meet each other on the felt, you know, it's almost like a little bit more personal. And, you know, these guys, I'm sure, talk a lot of poker, are good friends. And Anton Wigg, if he wins all 3 from 3 matches, which he could possibly do, I'm sure he won't let Martin forget that for a long time to come.
Yeah, absolutely. And it really put San Francisco Rush in the hunt. You know, you talk about how they had 0 points going into this match, and then just to leapfrog all the way to 9, that's really what they need to get going in that division. So let's head to the lounge and see what Eric and Laura are up to, and they can talk a little bit about everything that's going on in this match.
Thank you, guys. So that is the second match there of the Battle of the Swedes. Anton Wigg picking up 6 points there and doing pretty nicely.
They're doing well. They're still in that bottom barrel. But if they can win the next match, if Wigg can win the next match for them, they'll be in a 3-way tie for for third position, including with Montreal. Montreal with a win would move up to first overall temporarily, obviously depending on the outcome of our next match. But yeah, it's funny how the tables have turned, and suddenly they're in great shape. San Francisco are looking good, and Montreal, Jacobson just drops 2 there, and that's a big hit on the Nationals.
I feel Marc-Andre Ladouceur not going to be too happy at this point.
No, but I mean, to be honest, Wigg has played solid, and Jacobson has played well as well. So there's no errors here. They're just standard spots in this match.
So just to reiterate, they're playing 3 matches. They're not stopping after 2. Every time we have a heads-up match, they will play all 3 matches. Every time there are 9 points up for grabs. So will Wigg take 6 points or will Wigg take 9 points? What do you think?
I see Jacobson coming back and winning this one. Maybe
I think so as
some
well.
Sweet on sweet love. Maybe maybe Wigg will let Jacobson win this one. Although the way Wigg has been playing, I think he wants to go for the sweep for sure.
Do you think they might have any side bets going on?
I wouldn't be surprised with the way that they talk to each other on Twitter the whole week. I think, again, friendly, but there's nothing unfriendly about a little $20 wager maybe. So I'm sure they have a few side bets going on.
I think so too. Well, that third and final match from the Battle of the Swedes is coming up very shortly. Anton Wigg versus world champion Martin Jacobson. Montreal against San Francisco rush there. And don't forget as well, we've got the next heads-up battle coming a little bit later on. That is the battle of Las Vegas Moneymakers versus the New York Rounders. And that is Tom Marchese, the Big Cheese, versus Anthony Zeno. That's coming up at 6 p.m. Eastern time. We'll probably have a little break between this last match before that one starts. But still, everything to play for here in GPL.
Yeah, and I really think that last one is going to be a fun one. And both teams obviously, scrunched at the top right now, so we'll see some separation there. And we mentioned earlier that Zeno, Marchese, a lot of similarities there, and the style of player they are and who they are. So it'll be great to see that matchup. Marchese, a strong player when it comes to a lot of high roller situations. So this will be nothing to him when it comes to for pressure. And Zeno, they don't get cooler than Anthony Zeno, the king of 2015 and the reigning WPT Player of the Year, won back-to-back events. So that'll be a very fun match to see. Zeno has already started off on fire this year, so it'll be interesting to see what happens then.
Yeah, not to forget as well, the Moneymakers and the Rounders, both 10 points, top of the table coming in today. They are level pegging, so there's definitely going to be a bit of rivalry there.
And if Montreal does not win this match, then we'll be guaranteed to see a new number one, I guess, because there'll be separation there between both teams.
And coming up next week, don't forget, every single week, it's the same structure. We have 6 matches playing out on Tuesdays. That involves both the Eurasian and the Americas Conference. And then on a Wednesday, we have just the Eurasian Heads Up Conference. And then on every Thursday, we have the Americas Conference playing Heads Up too. And if you want to see any hands from any previous evenings or any replays, something like that, you can head over to our website, all the W's, globalpokerleague.com. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter as well, at GPL. And you can also use the hashtag GPL. Let's do that now, in fact. Let's take a look at some tweets. This is from the member of the Sao Paulo Metropolitans, Felipe Mojave Ramos. Watching Martin Jacobson and Anton Wigg's heads up, guess coffee mug is fave. Squid Poker, Griffin Benga.
That's a San Francisco on the mug.
Oh, okay, I couldn't see it. It's too far away. So the Sao Paulo Mets is a Rush fan. Interesting. The GPL has been super fun to watch these past few days. Great poker and wondering what will come in the future. Thanks to Keeks or Kindersakal. Thank you so much. Send us your tweets. Don't forget, send us your questions, send us your comments. We love it when you comment on what we're wearing. Apparently, my outfit's better today than it was the past 2 days.
Mine's still crap.
Yes?
Yeah.
You still look like you've come out of the dumpster.
That's right.
That's true. I've got my shoulders out. I know it's a good look, so I'll try and go for that one again sometime.
The old 80s movies look very well
played. It is a bit, isn't it? I should have crimped my hair.
Maybe we'll dress up as 80s characters next week.
We could do fancy dress on the show, like a different style every night.
I thought that's what we were doing.
Oh, yeah.
It just doesn't work.
No, it doesn't. Right, heads up. Sweden, the Battle of the Swedes. Anton Wigg versus Martin Jacobson. Let's head back to the desk to Griffin and to Sam.
Thanks so much, Laura. Again, this is day 3 of the GPL. We just had 2 matches between the Swedes, Anton Wigg and Martin Jacobson. It's gone Anton's way so far with those 2 quick wins for the San Francisco Rush. What have you really seen from these 2 players? What kind of styles and tendencies?
Well, one of the interesting things is these guys come from the same sort of Scandinavian brain trust. I know that when Martin was preparing for the November 9, Anton Wigg was by his side throughout those months of preparation, working on different outcomes, modeling different chip stacks and preparing. So these guys these are 2 guys who know each other's game really, really well, know each other's frequencies and tendencies. That's why you see it might be surprising for people at home to see ace-high calls on the flop, king-high calls on the flop, and people considering calling down with third pair. But that's because they have to keep their frequencies in line against their players they know so well. Let's talk about Martin Jacobson's background a little bit.
So statistics, obviously, he is from Sweden. GPI rank of just 387, over 15 million in live earnings, 62 results with 4 wins. And you know what's really interesting about those 4 wins is that Martin sort of had a reputation of being someone that was final tabling so many EPTs back in the day, and kind of that whole, like, always a bridesmaid, never a bride kind of thing that was happening. So it was a beautiful story to see him win the tournament of tournaments, coming in short stacked, battling so well, playing so well, and he's someone that we're excited to have here at the Global Poker League for sure.
Absolutely. Obviously, he came second in EPT Villamoro back in the day, had a second place in a World Series event. But, what a coming out party in terms of a win to close out the WSOP main event for 10 million. Anton Wigg, also someone with huge pedigree. Online, if you play MTTs, you will come across Antti, where he's a feared online regular. Also, EPT Copenhagen, incredibly prestigious title, only outshone by something like the World Series of Poker main event. So he also is a player with incredible pedigree. I'm sure Faraz Jaka was over the moon to have him sign up for the San Francisco Rush.
Yeah, you and I have traveled the European Poker Tour circuit a lot, and he's someone that we always see, so much success in a lot of side events. We saw there the 11 wins. But online is really where he cut his teeth, and over almost $6.5 million earned by Anton Wigg under Antis Vanti on sites like PokerStars. So he's someone who's a real threat online, and we're going to jump right into the action here. Heads up between Anton and Martin, representing obviously the San Francisco Rush and the Montreal Nationals.
And there you can see in the top left of your corner, Martin Jacobson, 2 red crosses by his name. He's going to be looking to salvage something for the Montreal Nationals.
Got through the games. I know Martin well enough to know that I would get to hear it for for some time. So, see if we can finish this off.
Anton was talking in the second match a little bit about how important it is to keep your heads-up game sharp when you have an MTT background, because so much of the money in tournament poker goes to the winner. That was particularly the case, of course, in Martin's final table, where it was 10 million for the win and a significant jump down to second.
Both ways.
Obviously, these 2 matches went pretty quickly, too. I don't believe that we went past the 600, 1200 level in either match. So it'd be interesting to see if we see the match slow down. Obviously, the way the cards have been distributed, a lot more action in these matches than maybe some of the other heads-up matches. A lot of top pair over top pair, some flushes made and something of that nature. So, again, maybe we'll be seeing a match that gets to the higher blind levels like a lot of the other ones have.
Anton, of course, told us that he's playing from Helsinki, where he's with Tim Adams and the team manager Faraz Jaka. I'm sure they'll be able to share a glass of wine tonight and celebrate if Anton does manage the clean sweep.
Hits him very well.
Always nice to be surrounded by friends.
And drinking wine.
Expensive wine as well, Tim Adams' house, no doubt about it.
Go after the weaker parts of his range here. 9x. Put in a tough spot and even lower, deuce x, and forward.
Great again to have someone of Antis Vanti, Anton Wigg's caliber, talking through his thought process. So nice that these guys are utilizing the web cameras to share the complex theoretical decision-making process that goes into these seemingly simple decisions.
Absolutely.
Here, Anton flopping best. Something that has been a feature of these first two matches.
Here, go for the slam dunk pop bet, which I will be doing with very low in my range. On a lot of my non-showdownable hands. And he did check back twice, so he's definitely got some kind of showdown value. So I was going to be betting flop return with no showdown type hands. But it's easy when you have trips.
Wow, very good fold from Martin Jacobson. I believe he does prefer Jacobson. How do you say it?
I said Jacobson.
Yeah.
Does he prefer Jacobson?
I think so. Jacobson sounds more.
I don't think. I have trouble with the
Mercier
thing too. Wow, massive cooler of a flop here for Anton Wigg. Obviously with the two kings, well ahead of Martin Jacobson's ace jack, and heads up to get these kind of boards. I mean, we could even see Martin check raising here in this spot.
This is one of those hands that you're looking for heads up when you have two kings.
Wow, very disciplined just call there by Martin Jacobson. Almost like a trap, because most of the time he's going to be so ahead on this board and under-repped.
Also not a huge concern. This means I'm going to be a bit more polarized when I bet. This is an interesting river. I think I'm gonna have to value bet. I want to keep a lot of hands in my value bet range here, given that I have a lot of very nutted hands that I want to extract value with, and I have quite a few bluff type hands.
This would be an absolutely incredible fold for Martin Jacobson. He can find it.
Bet here. Puts his jack X in a very tough spot. And his other hands as well. Middle pairs. And we await the Sham's decision.
I think he's going to fold here, mate.
Yeah, it's just about a lot of people watching at home. Great fold there by Martin.
I mean, let's say fantastic fold. We are watching some of the best players in the world playing poker here. I mean, I felt like, look at this, Anton Wigg, absolutely smashed in the face by the deck.
Yeah.
I've been running good this game.
And like most strong, humble poker players, definitely, he's someone who's going to recognize when things are going really, really well against this caliber of player. It's because the cards are definitely falling your way.
Yeah, exactly.
This could be a bit of a leveling type 3-bet. I mean, I'm gonna play my 3-bet range well here.
Things going Anton Wigg's way early in this contest. And again, he has another hand he can 3-bet for value. but it's Martin who flops
I'm not
best.
sure. I think I want to just give this one up, or at least start by checking. Doesn't necessarily mean I've given up completely on the hand, but this type of board texture should smash in. This turn though is very favorable. Considering I don't expect him to check back very many Queen X, then he's gonna have a lot of draws.
Fortunate turn of events here for Martin, obviously.
Mergy type value bet.
And
No good.
Martin Jacobson
That's a good hand.
with a favourable flop and even better turn, and
Back
puts
to
him in a
now.
commanding position to finally win one of the matches against his good friend
Maybe I'm
Anton
better
Wigg.
off left catching the river, but as I said before, I do kind of like.
I think we're going to see a check call a fair bit from Martin
somewhat
here.
merged.
A lot of good turn cards for his hand. He's ahead with Jack High, fair enough of time.
Never folding 2 overs to second pair and backdoor flush draw.
And that's part of the reason right there. Really interesting turn card here because it turns a flush draw for Anton, open-ended straight draw for Martin. Do you think there's a bet size that Anton bets where Martin would ever fold here?
No.
Really? If he bets, let's just say he takes a semi-bluff line. Oh, an interesting lead now here from Martin.
It's interesting. I was just thinking, I don't think, I wasn't expecting him to have almost any leads on this turn. I mean, with my hand, I'm going to call, of course.
Be great to see a shove and a call here, eh?
That really would be making poker history.
I would like to bluff here, having the 10 in my hand, but it also takes away some of this bluff type hands. I think I had to give this one up.
You can see that Anton Wigg does suspect something that's up. Obviously, in general, we see the top players using a balance strategy where they have bluffs and value hands when they do something. I wonder how Martin Jacobson values that turn lead, balances that turn lead with value bets. Be interesting to speak to Martin about that one.
Huge action flop here at the 400, 800 level. Just a minute left until 500, 1K. If you're just joining us, guys, this is the Global Poker League. Please check us out at www.globalpokerleague.com for standings and replays. But for now, Anton Wigg, Martin Jacobson, what a board here. This might end the match right here.
Yeah.
We should be off to the races here. Martin hoping to hit a king or a heart if he does decide to shove here.
64 here.
Martin's only fear, I guess, is if he shoves, he gets called by the ace-high flush draw as well as the value hands. But yeah, he's going to be all in.
Harder a king for Martin to secure 3 points for the Montreal Nationals. He does hit it with the Queen of Hearts on the river, securing those 3 points. Huge
Good
turn of
game.
events there. A nice swing for the Montreal team.
That was a couple of interesting matches. And nice to get started with 2 wins against the champ. 2 out of 3.
All right.
Great
We're
to
on
see
the
some
board.
interaction there
We're on the board.
between the manager, the homeless millionaire Faraz Jaka, and his teammate Anton Wigg.
Oh man, it was a couple of good games. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm still watching the rest of your match. I didn't know what happened. Yeah.
Thanks.
Congratulations to Martin Jacobson for securing the win there and avoiding the sweep by Anton Wigg. Also, Anton Wigg played very well across the 3 matches and be delighted to gain 6 points for his team manager Faraz Jaka and the San Francisco Rush.
Yeah, and it really goes to show how difficult it is to get a full, clean 9-point sweep in this heads-up format. Everyone in the GPL, 72 players from all over the world, some of the best players that you'll ever see play the game. Randy Nanonoko, the only one. Randy Liu, also known as Nanonoko, the only one of the 5 matches that we've seen to do the complete sweep of the 9 points. And but Anton Wigg certainly came close there. Just needed to dodge that river and would have had a commanding chip lead in that 3rd and final match. But Martin Jacobson, he played great, didn't he?
Yeah. Fantastic stuff from Martin Jacobson. Obviously, we know about the caliber of this guy. A lot of us watched that live stream of the final table when he went from the short stack at the final table in the November 9 to claim the World Series of Poker main event win. So no surprise that he played so well. Anton Wigg, not so famed amongst the broader poker community, but he's a class act. Anti-Savanti Online, of course. He showed that today.
Yeah, and a champion in his own right. This is a guy that has won a European Poker Tour title. Those are not easy to win, and you can ask any professional how coveted it is, how much they want to win it, and having a bracelet winner, and not just any bracelet, the World Series main event bracelet winner, unbelievable. And I mean, that's what's so great about the GPL. So many champions, and today he certainly played like one.
Yeah, and I think the other thing that we're seeing is that it's not just the heads-up specialists who come in and show they've got a lot of skill in this format. It really shows that, there used to be an idea that MTT professionals were, not so great at poker in general, didn't have a sound theoretical base. What we can see is that the top tournament players in the world, Anton said himself that he mainly plays 6 max and 9-handed. They have such skills now that it does transfer over towards the heads-up format. And there's not going to be a lot to pick between the top MTT guys and the cash game players and heads-up sit-and-go guys.
Yeah, and especially with the structure. Obviously, it's designed so these matches last about anywhere between, 15, 20, sometimes 30 minutes. And in that situation, different players are going to be better at different blind levels. And again, talking about the MTT players, perfecting that push-fold range, someone like Daniel Cates is going to be a lot better in the deeper structure. And we certainly saw that yesterday with his absolutely epic match against Elke, which, again, you can check out on our website, globalpokerleague.com. Watch that replay in particular, I'm telling you. We had a couple other great matches yesterday. Justin Bonomo, Tim Adams, one of the best matches I've ever seen in regards to poker theory. And it's just great stuff here at the GPL.
Yeah, and to recap what happened today, obviously before Anton Wigg defeated Martin Jacobson there, 2-1, 6 points to 3. We had Olivier Bousquet against Darren Elias. Olivier Bousquet, a formidable heads-up pedigree, cut his teeth playing heads-up sit-and-goes on sites like PokerStars and Full Tilt, and he really showed us how high a level this game can be played at in the heads-up format. Darren Elias, incredible tournament pedigree, a little bit outmatched.
In my top 5.
Yeah, in your top 5 in the world. A little bit outmatched, but he did get 3 points for the Sao Paulo Metropolitans, and Olivier Bousquet securing 6 points for his team. So it's been an action-packed day, really.
Yeah, and a lot of fluctuation in the standings, which, of course, our standings expert, Eric Dandy, will talk about at some point over the course of the day. We do have one match left today, a really exciting one, and that's going to come out from the Las Vegas Moneymakers. We're going to have, of course, Anthony Zinno, and who else is he going to be playing against?
Tom Marchese.
Yeah, the cheese. Big cheese.
Yeah, that's going to be a really exciting match. So do stay tuned with the GPL. Another big match to come where there'll be 9 points up for grab for these franchises.
Indeed, there are 9 points up for grabs in the next heads-up match as well. The Battle of the Swedes is over. How epic was the battle, Eric?
It was a good battle. Martin Jacobson, boy, did he ever run well at the end. They're picking up that flush. It might be the first time he's ever run well in his life.
I don't think so.
He might have won a little main event at some point. But really a good performance by both gentlemen. That does put Montreal temporarily in first place. They won't be in first place guaranteed at the end of the night because the 2 teams under them, Montreal has 12 points, 10 points for the 2 teams that are next. So one team will have at least 13. might have 16, might have 19. So Montreal will be either second or third at the end of the night. But right now, hey, sitting pretty in first place. Timex has played well. Jacobson got one back there for 3 points. That's satisfying for them. But I think the story is San Francisco. Anton Wigg doing the dirty work for the team, picking up 6 points, valuable points of the win as well, which could become an issue or which could become important during tiebreaker season later in the season. So Anton Wigg, really a great performance. For those that did not know Anton Wigg, I think they got a really good introduction to the Stockholm superstar.
Well, as the guy said, it was an EPT champion versus the World Series champion.
That's right. And Anton Wigg, we talked about earlier, 11 wins on tour. I think it was 9 side event victories on EPT. So just a great player, but also online. I think it was $5 million in winnings online. A lot of scoop final tables, W Coupe final tables. So really a solid player. So Anton Wigg is nothing to sneeze at.
And they really take this seriously, don't they? I mean, we were going to talk before about how Jacobson prepared for that World Series final table. And I know he's pretty chummy. I think they're all pretty chummy with Faraz, maybe, or like in that circle.
Faraz is such a likable guy.
Yeah.
And, so it was fun, by the way, to be in Timothy Adams' house. I believe they're in Finland right now.
Yeah, they're in Helsinki.
Pretty fun to see some members of different teams, but everyone having fun in Finland. Faraz happy that his horse won it for him today. 2 wins. Faraz admitting that he was actually watching the live stream.
Timothy Adams is a Rome Emperor.
But he's also a Canadian, and we're trying to be nice. And we still invite people in our homes. I'm sure there's actually a lot of betting going on. There might not be.
I said there were side bets, didn't I?
Yeah, there must be something going on in that house. It was fun to see Wigg really wanting to win all 3 matches because he said bragging rights over Jacobson. He would have them until the next time they'd meet. So 6-3. It's still the big win still belongs to San Francisco. Montreal, unfortunately. 1 win short from the W.
Well, we've got 8 weeks of online action before we see any live action. I'm really excited to see live action kick off, though. It's not going to kick off until we get to Las Vegas, which is the start of June. But who would you like to see most live, heads up?
After yesterday, I want to see Daniel Cates and Elke.
Yeah.
They won't be able to play each other because we're playing cross-conference play. So that won't happen. So we'll have to mix it up. I think a Galfon Cates, 2 legends of online poker. I think that is something that a lot of people would love to see. Maybe a little Liv Boré and Jason Mercier. That could be a good matchup there. So a lot of different scenarios that could happen.
Yeah.
It'd be great to see. Just the superstars of poker will be able to play, from one conference to the next. Maybe a Kitty Kuo, Selena Lin match. We'll have the Battle of Asia. That'd be
They'd
a
get
really
their designer handbags on the table.
That's right, a handbag battle.
Yeah.
But Kitty Kuo is someone that I cannot wait to see either live on her webcam or, of course, live in Las Vegas. She is just a treat.
I have a feeling we might be seeing her next week. I've got to stop with these hints.
That's right, you do.
I know I've got to stop.
Unleash Kitty Kuo to the crowd.
We could be seeing Kitty Kuo play next week, I believe. Let's take a look now at the Americas Conference standings after that battle of the Swedes. Montreal Nationals then on top at the moment with 12 points, but as Eric said, probably not going to stay there for too long, are they?
Yeah, they'll definitely be gone by the end of the first game.
Well, they will have to, won't they? Yeah, because someone, the rounders or the moneymakers will
get 3 points. You can't draw in this game, so therefore, yes, New York or Las Vegas will be in first place by the end of the next game, and then it'll be up to those 2 teams to battle and see if one of the 2 teams picks up all 9 points, they'll have a nice lead at first, and then Montreal would sit second. If not, if there's at least a split, then Montreal will fall to third, just a few points ahead of LA, 3 points ahead of LA, and then we see Sao Paulo, who grabbed a few points tonight. That's great, in San Francisco as well. So, there was Sao Paulo and San Francisco, things didn't look too good at the start of the day. Same thing for the Los Angeles Sunset. Things are looking really good now, and suddenly we have ourselves a race. Only a 6-point difference as of right now between first and last. There's a much bigger difference than what we had at the start of the day.
I wonder if Tony Gregg's got over the fact he didn't get any points on Tuesday.
I think the fact that Anton Wigg picks up 6 points actually helps Tony Gregg out. We mentioned that Gregg actually played really solid poker. We shouldn't be surprised, one of the top players in the world. Griffin Bencher mentioned he's part of his top 5 tournament poker players in the world, as was Darren Elias, who we saw earlier today. So, there's no shame in what happened. Fedor Holtz, who's the revelation in poker, finished 4th and 5th and was actually very satisfied with those results for his squad, for his LA performance. So, it's still...
He's always happy, though. He's a very positive, confident young chap.
It's also very early in the season. These players know that they're playing other world-class players. They know they're not going to win every single tournament. In fact, we've talked about the strategy should be to finish second in every single tournament, just like Anthony Zeno has done. Maybe not tonight. tonight it wouldn't be a good thing, right?
Well, we'll see. He's come second
If
twice.
he finishes second tonight in all 3 matches,
It's
that's
going to
0
be
points.
interesting.
So he can't finish second
Well,
tonight.
yeah. He shouldn't finish second. But
That's right. So Zeno and the
hopefully-
Big Cheese, that'll be a fun match as well.
Yeah, actually, I'll admit, I don't know that much about Marchese, the Big Cheese.
That's because I think it was his last 7 or 8 wins or big tournament scores have all come at Aria. Basically, the Big Cheese spends time at Aria and just wins
an
every
Aria
single
fan.
Super High Roller with our friend Bern Kenny, team manager for the New York
The
Rounders.
bad boys of poker is what I like to call them.
Yeah, the New York Rounders have certainly taken over the Aria in Las Vegas. They seem to score all their juicy GPI points there. So wouldn't be surprised to see the Big Cheese put the pressure on
I
Anthony Zeno
wonder,
tonight.
they should play from Aria.
That would be fun. And I'm
Get
sure
the
the folks at
webcams
Aria
out.
would invite us to do so. We should mention that Anthony Zeno is playing injured tonight. I mean, these are athletes, folks, and we'll fine-tune athletes. Anthony, who spent some time in the dentist chair today.
He's been in the dentist,
Yeah,
we
so-
can confirm.
That's right. So be wary if you see Anthony on camera tonight. He might still be
He might
under
have a-
some medication. So that'll be fun to see.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting match coming your way. Of course, New York Rounders Tom Marchese versus the moneymakers, that is Anthony Zeno. And don't forget, all of the replays that you've seen this evening, and in fact from Tuesday when we had the 6 Max events from both Americas and Eurasia, and of course the Heads Up games yesterday, the Eurasian Conference, and all of those amazing hands between Daniel Cates and Elke, which so far I think has kind of been the high point of where we are.
Other things. So I think the Davide Kitai fold on day one
That
is
was-
something we
yeah.
want to see. And then, of course, the 4-minute tank from Justin Bonomo
Justin
yesterday,
Bonomo tank as well.
which really took us inside the mind of a professional player.
Yeah,
Pretty cool.
all of those replays are available right now on our website, all the W's, globalpokerleague.com. So head over there if you want to check any of that out. But don't go anywhere tonight because we are staying right here. We're coming back at you with that fantastic match. This is the last Heads Up match for the Americas coming your way. Tom Marchese versus Anthony Zeno. It's on its way.
day, all day.